Welcome back to the Redzone Rundown. All we do is talk ball here. Let's hop right into it. It's playoff time. Come down towards the end of the year. Let's hop right into the rundown from last week's divisional round. We'll start off with the Texans-Ravens. Playoffs. Talking playoffs. The Ravens absolutely dominate the Texans. The Texans can't get really anything going on offense in that game. Texans were held to 213 total offensive yards, only 38 yards on the ground. The Ravens were just flying all over the ball on the defensive side. Lamar, Lamar does what Lamar does. They kind of got back to vintage Lamar. They were struggling a little bit in the passing game. He had 152 yards, did throw 2 tutties, but he had 100 yards rushing and 2 tutties on the ground as well. So he had 4 tutties total.
When you can run the ball that well as a team, why didn't you throw the ball?
It's true. It's true. You really haven't seen Lamar be old Lamar all season. So, to bring that out now in the postseason, obviously he ran the ball well all year. He's just going to. He's a superb athlete. But he hasn't had that run focus. It's been more pass friendly in the new offensive system there. But to get back to it, that's a hell of a bag of tricks to pull it to be able to pull into to get a win there in a postseason when it matters the most.
Yeah, just the complete dominance that they had running the ball was just. They were definitely clicking. You look down here. Lamar Jackson had 11 carries for 100 yards. Justice Hill had 13 carries for 66 yards. The guy who's mainly the receiving back there, the Gus Bus, wasn't crazy effective, but still 10 carries for 40 yards. Still great. Still did great there. And then the new addition, Dalvin Cook, got 8 carries. Most of his 8 carries were late in the game. There was one called back there earlier in the game, but 8 carries for 23 yards. I think he's going to get more of a workload this week against the Chiefs. I think they like what they see. He looks fresh. Obviously, they don't run the ball very much this year, so I think he's going to be kind of not necessarily an X factor for them, but somebody that's very important in this game coming up because I think they can really ride him if they want to.
Yeah, and I think they're going to need to ride the run game this week against the Chiefs.
Chiefs don't run very well.
They're not real great on the run. No, you could definitely run the ball on it, and obviously you're not dealing with the 2 all-pro corners.
And I think the Chiefs know that that's their biggest task this week. And Chris Jones said it after the win in Buffalo last week, we're going to have to figure out how to stop this run because there's no team that runs the ball better than the Ravens. Ravens I haven't seen a team run the ball like they do. It helps when you have one of your best athletes on the field as your quarterback.
It does.
Just take off whenever the hell he wants to, and you're not going to stop him.
Yeah, even on design pass plays, his ability to make plays happen. But I do want to hit my bad beat on this game. This one hurt for me. I actually had I took both CJ and Lamar to have 30 passing yards in the first quarter. CJ went way over for me. Lamar had 29 yards. Last play of the first quarter, the pass play. I'm like, just throw the ball, just completion. I need a yard. He takes off, makes a big play with his speed. So I took that one on the chin. Did pretty decent the rest of the weekend, but that was a tough one for me. But 1 yard. 1 yard cost me that. That's part of gambling, I guess. I'd say the good and the bad.
True.
But obviously the Ravens had 229 yards team rushing yards on the ground. They had had more yards rushing than the entire Texans offense did.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And crazy stat that the Texans never even got in the red zone in this entire game. So the only touchdown that the Texans got was on a punt return. Obviously, Steven Sims takes that to the house. And it's really their only offense that they had.
Yeah, it's not often you see C.J. Stroud throw for 175 yards. He was lighting it up all season. And then, not saying he stunk it up. He really didn't do much. The Ravens' defense is just. They were draped on him the whole game, and they couldn't get the run game going whatsoever. Devin Singletary had 9 carries for 22 yards. Dare Agumbawale had 2 carries for 7 yards, and then Stroud had 3 carries of his own for less than 10 yards. So. When you're running the ball less than 40 yards, it's going to be hard to really get anything going.
That's kind of the crazy part. I don't think there was a turnover in that game.
No, I think it was just defense. The defense
just
played pretty well.
played
And I
well.
don't think the Texans defense played all that bad. I mean, it's hard to stop the Ravens.
The
You want
Ravens
to beat the Ravens, you're going to have to score points.
Yeah, you're not beating them with scoring 10 points.
No.
That's not happening.
No.
You're going to have to beat them in a shootout, and then that defense is tough to get into a shootout with.
But I mean, at the beginning of the season, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of people that thought the Texans would even be in this position. So the fact that they were even in this game, it's kudos to them. And I mean, they're obviously going to be back. They're going to be running that division for some time. I'm not saying they'll win the division every single year there. I mean, that division could get tough moving forward, but especially with some new coaches and new regimes, rebuilds and stuff coming on in there, and you never know what Jacksonville's going to do.
The top two teams, honestly, for me, at this moment, are the Texans and the Colts.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crazy to think that the Jags, really, who were supposed to be the favorite, supposed to run that division over the next decade with Trevor, just might not be in the conversation at this point. Like, they're just getting outcoached, outplayed, out everything at this moment.
Yep.
But getting back here to the Ravens-Texans game, the Ravens did a great job on Nico. He had a decent day. He had 5 for 68, so he still had a decent day. But hats off to the Ravens. They look like an absolute world beater this year. It's going to be tough to beat them.
Yeah.
I really do. I've been against the running quarterback winning in the postseason, but this year Lamar's kind of really showed that he's moved more into a quarterback that can run than a running back that can throw, which is a lot of people compared him to early in his career.
And he just plays. He just has confidence that a lot of people don't have. Like he believes in himself and he believes in his guys. So I mean, he's playing on another freaking level right now. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him make it to a Super Bowl. I don't believe it happens, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But it's kudos to them. Obviously, he's the slam dunk MVP, and it's not even close at this point. So, but shout out to them. Shout out to the Texans for getting there when a lot of people kind of doubted them from the beginning, like thinking, hey, it's going to be another rebuild season. Probably going to have an early pick again, add some more depth to your defense, your offense. I mean, nobody thought they were going to look as good as they did. So,
yeah, they were very aggressive in the draft and were rewarded for it this year. So I think maybe you might see that play out a little more this year. I think you might have teams be a little bit more aggressive in the draft that normally wouldn't, just because now there's proof in the pudding.
What did they give up? Do you know off the top of your head what they gave up for Will Anderson? I think it was a first for this year, right? They gave up their first rounder from this year.
Yeah,
they had two. They had two of them for this year.
Trying
to
one of them up.
I can try to pull it up here. But I mean, just while he's doing that, but I mean, Will Anderson, he obviously he's a leader in that defensive room, and he's going to be a very good player, probably in the defensive player of the year conversation moving forward. Great edge rusher, just great dude on defense, and obviously that comes from him being in Alabama. That's just how them guys are bred there. So
they gave up number 12, 33 of last year, and they gave up the first from 2024 and a third from 2024.
Gotcha. Okay.
They got the 105 back for that.
Got you. So giving up a first round pick swap, first round, giving up a first round, a second round, third round. Yeah.
Oh, second round from last year.
Second round from last year,
and third from this year. So they don't have a first and a third from this year as well. But it hit worth picks. Those picks aren't going to be nearly as what a lot of people thought. This was a lot of people at the draft were saying this is the worst trade of all time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you just kind of look at it, I mean, they gave up a first rounder. I mean, if they would keep that first round pick that they gave up this year to pick an edge rusher that they pretty much they would have never got Will Anderson last year, and they pick an edge rusher this year. Would Will Anderson be your number one edge rusher this year?
Yes. Yeah.
Where Anderson was, it's not even close.
It's not close.
So I think they saw that
number one pass rusher from the last decade.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll talk about the edge rushers here a little bit later in the show, but I mean, I don't even think it's close.
I don't know.
Like, Will Anderson was just that fucking good.
Yeah, Will Anderson was a monster.
He was worth picking. I mean, he's in the number one. He was in the number one pick conversation when the season ended last year. It just depends who's going to move up to number one, because obviously the Bears had the first pick last year. Obviously they weren't getting a quarterback. So it all depended who's trading up for that number one spot, if anybody did. If not, the Bears are thinking they're going to pick Will Henderson. I mean, Will Anderson was worth being the number one pick.
Yeah, and it's
just like Marvin Harrison.
His tape the year before, a lot of people had him slotted as the number one.
Yeah.
It's tough at these day and times that really see a non-quarterback going one anymore. Obviously, with Bryce and CJ coming out last year, they both had great years. Will Anderson had a little bit down of a year, but I mean, obviously, defense. He still had a great year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the defenses were kind of tailoring more game plan to him. Obviously, there's probably some business decisions in there as well. He knew he had his money made. Didn't need to kill himself trying to go get it still that year as well. But let's move on here to the second game of the week here. The Packers-Niners. It was a game that was kind of a weird game. I thought, and I really feel like the Packers had the Niners on the ropes and let them off. And obviously, CMC there and Purdy and the boys come up there with a haymaker there and get the win.
Yeah, when I was sitting there watching that game, I'm like, there was a point in that game where I'm like, the Packers are going to win this fucking game. Like
late,
the Packers had that game. The Packers could have won that game. So I don't think the 49ers won that game. I think the Packers lost the game. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean the 49ers. I mean they made the play. They made the play when they had to, but I think they just squeaked it by against a team, another team that really I don't think anybody really realized how good they would be. Now, I mean, the Packers obviously turned it on later in the season. They've been playing really well here going in the early playoffs, but I mean, even in this game, Jordan Love, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The ground game, Aaron Jones, I don't know where the hell he came from late in the season. He started playing really well here late.
I mean, that's the first 100-yard rusher for the Niners in how long?
Yeah.
I did see
Packers. Yeah.
On the Niners.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, on the Niners.
The first 100-yard rusher on the Niners. And it was quite some time. I can't remember
the Niners played the run so well.
Yeah, and he had 108 yards. He played well. I mean, I thought Romeo Doubs played pretty well in that game.
Yeah.
I really think that game came down to Darnell Savage. He gets burnt on 2 of the touchdowns there, and the one that Kittle was nowhere to be found on that one, and he had that pick in the end zone that he should have been picked. I still don't know how he didn't catch that. And I think those are the differences in the game. But you look at Purdy and the boys, they played okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, losing Debo in that game, that offense is a completely different thing.
When Debo's not on the field, it's like they just get confused with what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I mean, CMC still plays well without him, but like it's the passing game is not nearly a threat as it is with.
No, and I mean when you're a defense, when you're preparing for a guy like Debo, how do you do that? I mean, it's not really there. You don't have a game plan for a guy like Debo because he can do everything on the field. So it's kind of hard to just pick one thing to do. When you eliminate that from the equation, makes things a little simpler. Obviously, we still got to worry about CMC. Still got to worry about Kittle. Kittle, top 3 tight end in the league, and you got to worry about Brandon Ayuk, who personally I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. I mean, he's the best receiver on that team.
Pure receiver.
Yeah. And I mean, you still have to game plan for a guy like him. I just don't think he gets the attention he deserves because you have so many other weapons.
Yeah. I think part of it too with the Niners, it's when they lose Debo in game, it's so hard to adjust that game plan because a lot of that game plan, there's nobody else on that roster who can do what Debo does.
Yeah.
And they put so many packages and wrinkles and this and schemes that when they don't have him available to do what he does, it makes it very tough to kind of vanilla out the game plan to kind of to less Shanahan-y.
Shanahan-y.
The
t-shirts that say that. Shanahan-y.
I'm not sure how many I's ran into the E's.
Yeah.
But it's tough to say.
Yep.
So I do think that's a part of it. Purdy obviously he has 252, a tutty. CMC goes for 98, 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, only 30 yards in the air, which I thought was a little surprising. 7 catches I kind of expected, but I did expect him to be in the 50-60 mark on that. Kittle has 4 for 84 and a tutty. And let's talk about Dre Greenlaw here. 8 tackles, 2 picks, and that man does not want to go down.
No.
He said, I want to pick 6. I'm taking this shit to the crib.
Trey
Greenlaw.
Greenlaw's a fucking monster. That dude's he's an animal.
Did you hear the interview with Fred Warner when they were asking him about, it's like, why didn't he go down? And I guess they had a meeting early in the year. He's like, we take one to the house.
Yeah,
Like, I'm trying to take one to the house.
Can't blame him.
I can't blame him.
I want to score 2 if I was him.
2 picks in that game. He played really, really well. I thought he was the best player on that defense. I also thought kind of a crazy stat. There was only 1 sack in those Saturday games.
Weird.
Only 1 sack.
Weird.
So it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy that actually was a really lack of sacks all game here.
Yeah.
But transition to the sack happy game, which was the Bucs Lions game. The Bucs Lions, they had 6 sacks in this game. There were 7 sacks on this weekend. 6 of them were.
6 of them were on the Lions game.
Yeah, in the Lions game. The Lions had 4. The Bucs had 2. Obviously, let's stick there. Our boy Aiden Hutchinson, another sack. This guy has absolutely turned it on in the last month and a half of the regular season, going into the postseason, and has been.
He's wreaked havoc.
He's been.
And I mean, like, that's not an easy. Like the Bucs have a good offensive line. Like that's not an easy offensive line to get a sack on. I mean, when you got, I don't know where he was lined up when he got that sack. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I mean, Tristan Wirfs is one of the best tackles in the damn league.
Wirfs is good.
Like, I don't know if any of our listeners here, or if you've seen this video. I showed this to my wife the other day. We were watching this game because they were talking about him and how good he is, and I'm just like, this dude's so freaking athletic. He went out on a pull block, and like he just got out there. He's so freaking athletic. And there was when he was coming out of college, I don't know, you probably know the video I'm talking about. Before the draft, the video came out of him in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
And he freaking did pretty much like a box jump.
Out of the pool.
Straight out of the damn pool.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever tried to do that before, jump into a pool. That is the most impressive fucking thing I've ever seen by a 6'5", 300-pound freaking person.
Try.
Like that is.
I employ
damn
something.
scary.
You've got a pool. You got a friend with a pool. Go over, tell him I'm going to try something. You're going to play the fucking idiot.
Like 4 feet, and he just did it like it was nothing.
Yeah, like it was a Tuesday.
Yeah. And then you got like he's just a freaking athletic freak. So I mean, their offensive line. Go back to Aiden Hutchinson here. Like their offensive line, they have some good players in the offensive line. They obviously know how to build one. But Hutchinson
moves decent.
Yeah,
he's not a statue back there.
Yeah, I mean, but Hutchinson, man, the dude just flies all around. Like he has a motor and just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
if you watch him play, he doesn't take play off.
No, he definitely embodies the Motor City attitude.
Yeah, he 100% does not take a play off. And I mean, there's been a lot of recircling of when Dan Campbell got that job and his first interview as the Lions head coach about how you're going to knock us down, we're going to get back up, we're going to take a kneecap off when we get back up. Then when you hit us down again, it's going to take 2 shots to get us down. We're going to bite your other kneecap off when we get up. I think a lot of people, we caught a lot of heat for that.
Yeah.
Like this guy's a fucking clown. But like it's picks like Aiden Hutchinson, because Aiden Hutchinson 100% wants to bite your fucking kneecap off when he takes you down. Yes. So like it's guys like that, and I think DC has done a really good job of getting guys like that. And I mean, like they were probably happy. I never saw the war room when the Jaguars took Davon Walker, but they had to have been happy as a pig and shit when Aiden Hutchinson saw that.
Absolutely.
Like, Hutchinson should have been the number 1 pick. I don't know why he wasn't. I don't know if it was a reason or...
There was definitely a thought process that Thibodeau was going to go 1 in that, too. Yeah. So I think that they thought that Hutchinson would be there one way or the other, and then Davon Walker came on late that year. But that just goes to show you that... and Aiden Hutchinson is supremely talented.
Yeah.
But... that is just an absolute perfect fit. That guy is a Michigan guy.
Yeah, he's from Michigan.
Just fits. That is. I honestly don't think he ever plays anywhere else. No. If he does,
why would you want to play anywhere else if you're him?
Yeah, I mean,
if you're from there,
that's perfect hometown, and he embodies the city.
But I mean, if you look around like that, the young guys they got on that team that are just making a difference. I mean. Another guy from from the Stafford trade they got for picks and everything, that Melifonwu, I mean, he played really well. He had a sack and a half, 6 tackles,
Nine
tackles,
total, 6
nine
total.
total, yeah.
The tackle for loss as well.
Brian Branch had 9 tackles and a sack. Like, Brian Branch plays fucking good.
Yeah,
like,
that dude. 2 tackles for loss as well. Like that, he is one. I think he's the best tackling corner in the league, in my opinion. And the way the Lions scheme up their secondary blitz packages, now don't get me wrong, the Lions are not a good cover team. No, their outside corners are,
but they are the
dog shit.
Yeah, they're the best secondary blitz team I've ever freaking.
They scheme up a secondary blitz that is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And Aaron Glenn, I think Aaron Glenn's done a really good job with that defense for what he has.
How is he not going to job?
They have such young talent on that team, and I think their defense is overperforming for the talent they have. I mean, they have some good guys, but I think they're still overperforming. Obviously, the secondary, I think that's their biggest focus in the draft this year is the secondary. Like their corners are not great. They have some good safeties playing really well, but Aaron Glenn, I think he's proved that he should be in the head coaching conversations. Unfortunately for him, I think most of his head coaching interviews this year were due to the Rooney Rule. But I mean, I don't understand why he's not getting any looks. But I mean, that's a win for the Lions getting him back.
Yeah. If he's back there, that defense is primed to be better next year, in my opinion. If they can go out and add some cornerback help and some additional depth there in the defense, that defense is primed to be dominant.
And that's obviously, we can both agree. I mean, that's their biggest weakness on their defense. I mean, obviously they have some players on their front seven. Maybe another. You never have enough edge rushers.
Yeah.
You can never have it. Like linebackers, also kind of hard to come by. If we're gonna stay on the lines here, but talking to the offensive side of the ball, there's a point I wanted to make here. The running game did very well again, over 100 yards on the ground. The receivers, obviously, they're playing very well. But I just want to make something known here. The Detroit Lions are a completely different offense when Jahmyr Gibbs is on the field and when Jahmyr Gibbs is not on the field. Obviously, I know in the beginning of the season, they're riding Montgomery. They're going to ride Montgomery's legs and save Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think this might have been what they were saving him for. But Jahmyr Gibbs, like you put Montgomery on the field, like they're just freaking two-dimensional when Gibbs is the one on the field because you don't know what he's going to do in the pass game. The run game, he's just explosive.
He's definitely absolutely dynamic. But Goff had 287, 2 touchdowns. Gibbs had 9 for 74, touchdown on the ground. Had 4 catches for 40 yards.
Yep.
Gibbs still had less carries than Montgomery in this game.
Yeah.
But Montgomery had 10 for 33. He kind of struggled to get going. But, I mean, I do agree the offense is much more dynamic with Gibbs on the field.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of that start of the transition. I think it's still kind of a 50-50-ish.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of see, like, you can tell, I mean, just the Bucs defensive line, they have a good front.
Yeah, they're tough to run.
I mean,
Vita Vea.
I don't know. I would never want to block Vita Vea ever in my life. I don't think you could pay me enough money to want to block Vita Vea. Like, the dude's a fucking animal. So, obviously, when you look at how Montgomery is as a running back versus how Gibbs is as a running back, Gibbs can get outside with speed, get to the sideline, get up the sideline. Montgomery's in between the tackles. He's going to run very hard for you. But when you got a guy like that, just plug in the middle. And kudos to Frank Ragnow for playing him as good as he did.
Yeah.
Like, Frank Ragnow got banged up in that game, came out of the game, went back in the game, and then you got to block this 380-pound fucking Samoan guy who literally does not move when you come off the line.
He's a monster.
Like, shout out to Frank Ragnow, one of the best centers in the league. Like, I think he proves it over and over again. Like, dude is a freaking monster.
He's the second team all-pro.
Yeah. It should be the fucking first team if it wasn't for my favorite player in the league. But, I mean...
Honestly, I think Ragnow was a better player this year than Jason Kelsey.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and Ragnow's younger. Ragnow got some legs under him. And Ragnow's just... He's a fantastic run blocker. He's great in the pass game. Like, he's an all-around guy. Obviously, when I think Kelsey retires this year, Ragnow has to be considered the best center in the league.
And he's definitely there. I don't think it's even close.
Yeah.
Creed Humphreys
very good. But Frank Ragnow, he showed the dude is just tough playing like that. But I mean, Montgomery, he's going to run in between the tackles. So I mean, obviously, if you look at the stats, he had more carries, but a lot of them were up the middle carries.
Which means you do need that to set up what Gibbs can do too. So it is a.
I think Montgomery probably should have got a touchdown. Their one touchdown they had there on the goal line when they went for it on 4th down, but for some reason they took Montgomery out of the game and they put Craig Reynolds in, Craig Reynolds was in the game for one play, got his touchdown. I do not think the Bucs were ready for that. I think the Bucs, they put him in the game more like a receiving type of back.
Yeah.
Went out of the I formation, and they ended up handing the ball to Craig Reynolds, and he walked in the end zone. I don't think anybody on that Bucs defense is ready for that.
They've used Reynolds kind of interesting all year.
So
the
Kutztown
Johnson on that. He's put him in good spots.
Kutztown alum Craig Reynolds, 1 carry for 1 touchdown. Fantastic. Doesn't get any better.
I thought Sam Laporta played well today too. Obviously looked completely different as a player from last week, coming back from
he's still a little banged up.
I don't think he was 100%, but he had 9 for 65. He was really good early for sure.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's kind of where he's been a lot. Was kind of in that range. Obviously, didn't get in the end zone, but I mean, didn't need to get in the end zone this week. You got Amon-Ra was in the end zone, Josh Reynolds, and then you had Gibbs and Greg Reynolds. Both Reynolds are scoring this week.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times this year.
But kind of going forward with them, I mean, Josh Reynolds, he was two catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. Like, I think they're going to have to ride him a little bit this week against the Niners defense is tough. So, I mean, they're obviously
Jameson Williams has to have a big.
Yeah, Jameson Williams. I mean, Jameson Williams, I think he's proved in the last couple of weeks he is a little bit more than just that home run ball guy.
He's starting to find a little bit more of a role.
I think he's going to have to do that to find a role in that team a little bit, or a little bit more of a role in that team. But Jameson Williams is going to have to be a guy this week. Josh Reynolds is going to have to be a guy. Jahmyr Gibbs. So, but I think the Bucs played well. Again, another team I think overperformed a little bit. Curious to see what they do next year now that they're losing.
Baker's got to be the guy, right?
What's that?
Baker's got to be the guy.
Has to be.
He had 349 for his tutties. Did have 2 picks, but
Curious to see how they're going to look next year. Are they going to draft a guy? I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks they can pick in the middle rounds. Are they going to draft someone? Are they hoping Kyle Trask might be the guy going forward? Who knows there? New offensive coordinator coming in this year. Mike Evans possibly on his way out. But that's going to be a storyline next year.
Potentially be out of there. But in my opinion, that Baker Mayfield has got a really bad rap in this league. Like, the guy has played well everywhere he's been outside of the fucking dumpster fire that is the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, he played well when he got to LA. Won games for them in LA. He played really well all year, and honestly, should have won Comeback Player of the Year. Fuck you, DeMar Hamlin. I'm sorry, all you did was knock out. Don't feel that.
Did he actually win Comeback Player of the Year yet?
They pretty much announced he's going to. Yeah. It hasn't officially been announced, but it's everything is leaning that way. The guy played 30 snaps on defense and had 2 more tackles than I did the entire fucking year.
Speaking of DeMar Hamlin, I was going to bring this up when we started talking about the Bills and the Chiefs game, but I don't know how much of that game you watch, if you maybe know what I'm talking about.
The fake punt?
Yeah. So, I don't know what the Bills were thinking of. I mean, this might be a good transition to getting into that game.
I know what they were thinking. Let's say that. Just
all right.
I do want to hit a couple more things here.
Okay.
Obviously, I thought the Bucs ran the ball really well, but didn't do it enough. They had 15 carries for 89 yards. They averaged 5.9 yards a carry, and just didn't feed Rashad Wright nearly enough. He had 9 carries for 55 yards, four catches for 36 and a touchdown. Mike Evans had a fucking day that could have been much bigger. He dropped some balls that don't normally see. He had 8 for 147 and a tutty. Cade Otton, I thought, played
Cade Otton's a great tight end.
Yeah,
he's a very good tight end. He's coming. Him and Baker seem to have a connection. If you look at his 5 receptions that he had too, I mean, he dropped a lot of balls. Yeah, he had a couple balls that were couple balls. I mean, he's had that issue a couple times, but I mean, he's typically pretty reliable. Even when he does drop 3-4 balls or 2-3 balls, he's still going to catch 5-6 balls. Yeah. Like Baker goes to him a lot. So, but Chris Godwin, I mean, he was there. I mean, obviously, he didn't. He hasn't really done much as of late, but 4 catches, 40 yards. But
he hasn't been the Chris Godwin of the past. This year, I haven't really thought. But last thing I want to hit on the Bucs Lions game there, obviously shout out to Derek Barnes, 3 years in the league, finally gets his first career interception, gets the game ball for it. It is the game sealing interception. Although there was some mismanagement there at the end of the game that Dan Campbell, you do want to clean that up.
Yeah.
They could have got that ball back and had a chance with 15, 20 seconds to go in that game.
Yeah.
Obviously, they elect not to take that timeout. I'm not sure if they realized the scenario there, but the Lions went a little too quick there at the end. That could come back to bite them at some point. So just keep an eye on that from Dan. But that's I want to. I'm good.
No, you're good. You're good. We were just on the topic of DeMar Hamlin, and I thought that was pretty funny. I wanted to bring that up. But transitioning over here to the Chiefs-Bills game, Chiefs 27, Bills 24 game. I think the Bills should have had. But kind of one play to look at in that game. Big turnover here for the Bills when they decide to run a fake punt. And the guy that they run the fake punt to is Damar Hamlin. And
possibly the clone of Damar Hamlin.
Right, yes. We don't know for the speculators out there. Conspiracy theorists. So, but yeah, don't know what they were doing. I don't know if they were trying to cement Damar Hamlin as the comeback player of the year.
Well, that's a regular season award, so I don't that wouldn't have any there.
I mean, I don't understand what necessarily makes him the comeback player of the year. We all knew before the season, as long as he didn't have another heart attack on the field.
As long as he played a game, he was going to win it.
Right, as long as he was in the game. But, I mean, he was inactive for how many games?
He played 5 games and played like 27 snaps on defense and like 8.
And I think the only reason he was in this game this week is there's some injuries. And
he played late in the year, so he missed like the majority of the season. He was inactive, was healthy.
He was inactive for most of the season. I know he played against the Broncos. He was in against the Broncos.
In 2 tackles.
Yeah. And
both on special teams.
Yeah. He's not good. He is not good. I'm sorry.
I don't know what
not a good player.
Those 2 tackles were absolute season-saving tackles. He is the greatest player ever. No, I'm fucking with you. I
can't freaking sit here and
I completely disagree. That should have been either Joe Flacco or, in my opinion, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Mayfield obviously had really didn't play a lot last year. Was kind of bouncing around and then came out and took a team a lot of people thought were going to be absolute dog shit to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And played well the entire season.
Speaking of Joe Flacco, I saw a meme the other day. That who was more deserving to win comeback player of the year. It was either Damar Hamlin or Joe Flacco. And on the meme it said, Damar Hamlin died, currently not dead. And then it said, Joe Flacco played for the Jets last year, possibly worse than being dead.
Yeah, I would agree.
It was pretty fucked up. It made me fucking laugh. So, but Joe Flacco was sitting on his couch all season, like watching football on TV and gets a call from the Browns, hey! And then goes to the freaking playoffs.
Yeah, comes in and plays well.
I don't know. I mean, Joe Flacco play next year?
Yeah, I think so.
You think he's back up somewhere? You think he stays in Cleveland?
I think he could push for the Cleveland starting job.
Yeah,
I don't think Deshaun's the fucking.
Yeah, Massage Watson. Who knows what's going to go on there? Worst contract in NFL history, but we've not tried to get into that. Browns are irrelevant. Browns are out of the playoffs. So.
Probably never see a guaranteed contract just because of that.
Yeah.
But I can't believe you did not start this game with the biggest news out there.
What, that Taylor Swift was at the game?
No. That your boy, Jason Kelsey, finally met Taylor Swift.
He did.
This is the first time they've met, and he's half naked.
And his wife told him, "You're not doing that." And he said, I don't care what you said. I am doing it. I am taking my shirt off and I'm jumping in.
He wanted to do it in the parking lot, and it just didn't work out. Like
I heard he wanted
into the stadium.
I heard he wanted to go through a table too.
He did.
He said he wanted to go through a table, but his I guess his wife kind of calmed him down there a little bit. But, he met Taylor Swift for the first time. His brother looked like he was resurrected a little bit. He had his brother at the game, and then Travis has 5 catches, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He looked like the Travis Kelsey of old. He was open again. I mean, obviously the Bills are playing him hard. They're double teaming him any chance they get, but still somehow he ended up still getting wide open in the back of the end zone. And his second touchdown was a screen pass where he's just bullying his way in.
Yeah.
That's vintage Travis Kelsey. But kind of transitioning off that a little bit, a couple other receiving targets that had some decent games. Marquez Valdez-Scantling only had 2 catches, but
they were big.
He caught the ball.
He caught the ball.
And they're 62 yards.
Let's be honest. That's a very MSV fucking stat.
Yeah.
2 for 62.
Yeah.
He's never been a guy who's going to catch 12, 15 balls.
But when he's open, he needs to catch them when they're throwing.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I think that's what he struggled with the most this year. And Mahomes didn't throw to him for a while because obviously there's no trust there.
Yeah.
Rasheed Rice, 4 catches, 47 yards. He's been consistent. Obviously, he's there when you need him.
I still think he's a little banged up from the previous
game, and obviously
he
wasn't.
He played solid.
He wasn't used nearly as much as he has been in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, he's a little nicked up there. And then Noah Gray, obviously, I think he's big with when you put Travis Kelsey in, you have Noah Gray in there with him. I mean, Noah Gray can there's been games where this guy has 1 catch for 30 yards, 2 catches for 30 yards. Like the dude, he's kind of forgotten about. Like,
yeah, he's a really good second option.
Yeah,
he
like,
really is.
So I think moving forward, like we'll get in it when we talk about this upcoming week. But I mean, obviously he's an X factor. He had 3 catches for 16 yards. Obviously nothing crazy, but they don't have a whole lot to talk about in the receiving end there. So when you're talking about Noah Gray, I mean that's kind of where it stops. And Cole Hardman, he kind of could have screwed the game up there for him.
You know what he did screw?
What did he screw?
Fucking parlay.
Did he? What, you need it for a touchdown or what?
This was my second bad beat of the week. So I had Lamar Jackson for 2 tutties in the air, Mahomes for 2 tutties in the air, and Josh Allen for 2 tutties in the air. Or it's actually a 6 or more. So any combination of that, the other 2 hit their 2. And I came one tutty short. If he scores on that play there, I would have got it. I came literally one touchdown of them hitting that.
Like just a grass hair short of his knee, his shin hitting the ground.
Yeah, I thought actually when I first seen it, like, I thought he was down. And obviously in the replay there, it was a little. He wasn't down.
Your boy Tony Romo.
I can't. I hate that fucking man.
He is. I don't think he's down, Jim. He's not down, Jim.
Worst. There is nobody worse.
You were when I was watching that game. We weren't watching this game together, but you were right here when I was watching this game. Because all I could hear when Tony Romo was talking was like, "Oh my god, I can't fucking stand him." And your voice, literally, all I heard was your voice in my ear saying, "I can't fucking stand this guy." And dude, he was driving me fucking nuts. I'm glad that we didn't have Collinsworth for a Patrick Mahomes game.
I will take Collinsworth every day of the week over Romo.
I tell you, like, it was awful. I'm sorry. My favorite news commentators are the Monday night guys. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are my favorites.
I really like Tarico.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a big fan of Greg Olson.
I do like Greg Olson. Greg Olson, what game was he on? He was on the Lions game? I think he was on the Lions. What was the first Saturday game?
First Saturday game was the Texans.
I think he was on that game.
He was on that,
yeah. But yeah, I like him as a commentator. I think he probably loses his job when Brady takes over, right?
Maybe there, but I don't know.
Because Brady's going to Fox.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But yeah, I think Greg Olson he earned himself staying in the booth. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, he'll get a job. I don't think there's any chance he doesn't get a job.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the whole Harvard play. What are your thoughts on that rule? The fumble through the end zone being a turnover and a touchback. Too harsh? Not harsh enough?
I mean, I think it's about right. I mean, like, what else are you supposed to do in that? Like, where are you supposed to?
It's not a turnover. The ball comes back to where it's fumbled. Any other place in the field it isn't. The only time that it comes into effect is
when it goes through the end zone. Yeah, I guess I really didn't even think about that. Like, if the ball, you're anywhere else in the field, the ball advances forward. It's dead where the ball was fumbled. Yeah, I guess. It's probably something that could get looked into a little bit more.
I think it's going to get looked into.
It's something I never really thought about because it's kind of always been a thing.
Yeah,
it's like
it has been for a long time.
It's kind of one of those things. Now, obviously, on a big stage like that, I mean, Chiefs-Bills, there's always something that happens in a Chiefs-Bills game and obviously those two teams, it's going to draw more attention than a lot of other games. Yeah. Not just because of Taylor Swift being in the booth, but
just because those are two
they're two powerhouses, and these two teams are probably going to see each other 10 more times in the playoffs before Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes' career are over. AFC Championship game.
Seems like an annual.
It's going to happen every single year. Yeah, I mean Patrick Mahomes has been in the AFC Championship game every year since he's been a starter. Yep. So if he keeps that going, obviously him and Josh Allen are going to run into each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I did like Mahomes coming out and pretty much saying this isn't the first time we've been on the road. People do seem to forget that they played Tampa in a Super Bowl. Neutral site, and it was in Tampa.
Yeah.
That's a fucking road game. So to come out there, and I thought they played well. Checker had 97 and a tutty. He did get banged up in this game. He is questionable this week, so that's going to be a big question mark.
Yeah, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire needs to be ready. I mean, he's been playing very good the last couple weeks.
There was an appearance from him this weekend. A nice 28-yard run.
Yeah, he seems like he's like his legs are fresh. Obviously, like he's running. He's running pretty good. Like he looks like LSU Clyde again. Like he looks pretty solid, but they're going to need to run the ball a little bit. They're going to have to establish the run, try to keep the pressure off the defense there because they're going to get after Mahomes. They're going to try to get after Mahomes. So I think they're going to have to rely on that run game a little bit.
it's going to be tough because Joe Tooney's out this week as well for them, so he's not going to play. He's already been rolled out.
That's huge.
Obviously, they lost Willie Gay in this game and Mike Edwards. Willie Gay is their spy guy who would have been on the field a lot in a spy on Josh Allen trying to take his legs away. Obviously, when you lose him, Allen goes for 72 on the ground and 2 tutties.
Yeah.
So he had really good running game. Didn't throw the ball real well. He only had 186 yards and 1 tutty in there. So that's where my parlay just fucked up. Maybe his 2 rushing touchdowns,
right.
1 good in the pass would have been awesome. No sacks in this game for either team either. So it's
both quarterbacks get the ball out quick. When they don't, they improvise.
Josh Allen's hard to sack.
Yeah. So Patrick Mahomes hard to sack too. Obviously he usually gets the ball out pretty quick, but he's smart. He's very smart. He gets the ball out when he needs to and throws it away when he needs to. There was one he should have been sacked, and the dude flips it over in his left hand, throws it out of bounds. Fucking guy's just.
He's good at finding ways to avoid him.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But finish up there with the Chiefs. There, Nick Bolton had 13 tackles in the game. He was all over the place.
Nick Bolton's
Played really well.
He's going to be huge this week against the Ravens.
Yeah,
he has to be.
Yeah, and if Willie Gay does not play in that game, it's going to be really tough on the Ravens. I'm sorry, on the Chiefs. James Cook there with the Bills. He had 61 yards on 18 carries. They had 182 yards on the ground. So they just ran the ball well. They just didn't throw it real great. Just Stephon Diggs. Is that the ghost of Stephon Diggs now out there? I don't know what that is anymore.
Three catches for 21 yards.
On 8 targets, had that massive drop.
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem like Stephon Diggs. He does seem like he is a kind of a head case. He's kind of the typical NFL wide receiver diva-esque kind of guy.
You guys saw that in the beginning of the season. He just left the season or left the team for whatever reason. I don't know what the hell's up there, but he just doesn't. He's not putting it together. They didn't have Gabe Davis on the field either, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. But
he's kind of a receiver with 45 yards.
No, they're kind of. They had one receiver at 45 yards. Dalton Kincaid,
44 or something like that. Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid.
Not
I had 5 for 45.
Yeah.
Shoot, Khalil Shakir had 7 for 44. Latavius Murray had 3 for 27. Latavius Murray is your 3rd leading receiver.
Yeah, it's not good, especially when you have a guy like Stephon Diggs on there, because Stephon Diggs is a good receiver.
Yeah,
at least it was. It's been a kind of a rough year for him. But we'll see if he ends up being there next year.
Hard to say. It is hard to say.
I wouldn't be shocked to see them trade him away in the offseason and just move on from it.
Around draft time, I could see that. Maybe if they want
to
get a receiver.
I think they're in the receiver market for sure in the draft. Whether it's first, second round, or something like that, they're definitely in the receiver market. That'll wrap it up from last week, the divisional round there. Let's take a peek ahead here at the divisional. The Super Bowl is on the line here. Or if you want to play the Pro Bowl, I guess.
That's true. Do you want to play in the Super Bowl or do you want to play in the Pro Bowl?
You want to play flag? Or you want to play
right.
So obviously the first game here is the Chiefs-Ravens on CBS this week. Ravens are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
You know what a crazy stat of this game is? There is not a single 1,000-yard rusher or receiver in this game.
Pretty well.
For either team.
Considering Travis Kelce's on the field.
For either team.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce has the most out of any of them. Yeah. The Ravens actually don't have anybody above 900.
Well, you figure the Ravens spread the ball around a lot. They don't really have a guy. Zay Flowers did pretty well, but he's not a guy every single week that's just going to get most of your targets. Kind of like a speed guy. You're throwing ball, let him do some yards after the catch. Other than that, they got Rashad Bateman. Who else they got in there? You got the running backs were getting Keaton Mitchell was getting a lot of catches there before he got hurt. OBJ.
Mark Andrews got hurt.
Mark Andrews.
He would have been. He's going to play this week.
Yeah.
He should have activated.
He's that's going to be very important for them this week.
We'll see what he has to offer if he does play.
Isaiah Likely played pretty good when he was out.
I do like Likely.
I would like to see some scenarios with both of them on the field this week against the Chiefs.
I think you'll see it.
Yeah, obviously they're going to run the ball, so when you run the ball, you're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets too. Yeah. So I think you're going to see a lot of that personnel. I think
you'll see him a lot in 22 there this week.
Speaking of that, obviously the Ravens run the ball very well, but I'm thinking Chiefs. Just Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes has been here, 6 times in his career already. How many years have you been a starter? 5, 6?
Six.
He's been in the AFC Championship every year as a starter. So he's been here before. He knows what it takes. Can Lamar win the big game? If he does, good for him. I hope he does. Obviously, I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl every single freaking year. I hope Lamar proves me wrong, but just going with it, I think the Chiefs get it done. They find a way to win somehow.
Yeah, it's
high-scoring game.
This one's tough. 3.5. It does feel like it's probably a 3-point game, so I feel like the Chiefs would probably be the smarter bet if I'm getting Mahomes and points. I feel like that's tough to say no to every single time. For me, Joe Tooney not playing is massive. Willie Gay being questionable. I didn't see, is Creed Humphrey still in the injury report this week? He was questionable early. I did not get a chance to take a peek at that here today. Obviously, us filming this a little later in the week than we typically do. I don't remember if he was still on that report today or not. But him not being 100%, Lamar, that defense has really been great, and that's where I'm having an issue with. And I don't think Lamar has to win the game now. This team is very. This is way too much praise on this. They're very Ray Lewis, that kind of style of defense. Back in 2000, the year that they were, world beaters with their defense. I'm going to take him. I'm going to take Lamar. I've been riding the Chiefs train all year, and it's done me pretty well. But I don't know. Something about this Ravens team feels very different than past Ravens teams.
Yeah, they're playing very well. They have really good coordinators with great game plans going forward. Monk and McDonald.
They're healthy.
Yeah, they're healthy. That's always a question mark for the Ravens every year. What was it, last year, 2 years ago?
They were on their 8th
half
straight
their
running.
Half their starters.
Everybody they signed.
Poor J.K. Dobbins is hurt every damn year. Obviously, I think you kind of have to move on from him at this point. He's
going to be in the talk of what could have been players.
Yeah.
Because that guy has a ton of talent.
100%.
And he looks so good when he's healthy, and he just can't stay healthy for whatever reason. I'll take the Ravens there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to bet against the Chiefs. It's just not in the scenario.
You did last week.
I know. I did because I honestly thought the Bills were going to get their revenge, and the scenario was in. You watch the replay watch that game. There's no way the Chiefs win that game. And they figure it out. Yeah, the Chiefs always figure it out, and that's why I'm taking the Chiefs, because the Chiefs always figure it out when it matters.
The red zone offense still scares me with the Chiefs. They still have found ways to struggle a little bit in the red zone, and the Ravens have just been murdering people lately here. So I'll take the Ravens. Let's move on to the second game here, the late game. Lions at the Niners. Niners are 7.5-point favorites.
That's wild to me.
Yeah, so I made that 1,000-yard stat for the last game. There's 5 in this game. So Lions have 2, and the Niners got 3 guys who all went over 1,000 for the year.
What, all our scrimmage yards?
I didn't go scrimmage. That's 1,000 either rushing or 1,000 or passing. So I did not include both. Just one or the other.
Yeah. So this is tough for me. This is tough. This game's. Obviously, I don't think the Niners covered the spread. Let's just put that out there. I think it's less than a 7.5-point game.
I think it's 7. They may have moved to 7.
Are you taking the Niners?
I don't know.
This is a game where I wish this was a Super Bowl. Honestly, I wish the Lions-Niners was the Super Bowl. Obviously, I like these two. These are 2 of my favorite teams in the league right now. Kind of a couple things here. I hate the Brock Purdy slander. There's a lot of guys out here that Brock Purdy isn't the guy. He's not a good quarterback. He rides a really good team. These are the people that do not watch a 49ers game, because Brock Purdy can sling the damn ball. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy can throw the damn ball. Brock Purdy can win a game when he needs to. Obviously, he beat the Packers. The Packers were playing very well. You can say all you want, the Packers aren't shit. You obviously don't watch football. There are a lot of guys on social media that you're just
There's a lot of
all over this. I hate the Purdy hate. I don't understand it. What's it matter? He's just a system guy. What's it matter? He plays
you
in
can make
the
that argument
system.
about every single.
You can literally make the argument about every damn quarterback. You can make the argument about Patrick Mahomes that he's not very good unless Andy Reid's the one calling the plays. Yeah. You can make the argument about anybody you want, but you won't know until they're in a different situation. Purdy's not in a different situation. The locker room loves him. Obviously, they freaking kicked Trey Lance out of town, and he was there for. He got three. Gave up 3 first-round picks to get him.
Yeah, they gave up the world to go get Trey Lance.
They wanted Brock Purdy. They didn't want Jimmy G. They didn't want Lance. They wanted Brock Purdy.
I mean, even look at just. I mean, Sam Darnold was, high draft pick too, and he's beat him out.
Yeah. Like Brock Purdy just continuously gets it done. He runs the offense very well. He's efficient. He throws the ball down the field. Like the ball he threw to Kittle, dime. Like he throws dimes down the field. I don't care what anybody says about Purdy. He does he can sling the damn ball. He runs the offense the way he's supposed to do. You can call him whatever the hell you want, if it's a system guy or not. He gets it done. And here we are talking about football while he's out there fucking slinging it. At the end of the day, he's a quarterback for an NFC contender, then one of the best teams in the league. Yeah, right.
They are the favorites there. He was the MVP favorite for most of the year.
Yeah, and I mean the Lions. The Lions are an explosive offense.
Yeah.
I think the problem that's going to kill the Lions this week is can their defense hold up? That's the part. I want to pick the Lions really, really bad because I would love to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. Like that would be my my sensitive pick. Like I'd love to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. Like when the Rams won the Super Bowl, I wanted the Rams to win the Super Bowl because
you wanted Stafford.
You wanted Stafford to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's how I feel about the Lions. Let Jared Goff win the game. The team deserves it. The city deserves it. Dan Campbell deserves it. Like the ownership, the GM, they all deserve to win that Super Bowl. The Niners deserve to win the Super Bowl too, but the Niners just I don't know. I mean, I think they're just the all around the better team. I think I want to pick the Lions, but I think the Niners squeak it
out. That's where I'm struggling with this too. Is in my heart I want the Lions to win this game. Yeah. In my head I know the Niners.
Yeah, that's literally what I wanted to say and couldn't figure out how to say it. But literally, like the heart's telling you the Lions, the brain's telling you the Niners. Like the Niners are just the better all-around team. I think they have the better defense. I think that's really what it comes down to. Obviously, we were talking about the Lions' defense and how they have some playmakers and some young guys. Their secondary is what kills me. I think Brandon Ayuk has an absolute I think Brandon Ayuk will have his best game of the season.
Debo's off the injury report as well.
He is off the injury report. So Debo's playing. I think Brandon Ayuk has a field day against them. I think George Kittle has a good day. I think Debo has a good day. I think they're going to do everything in their power to stop Christian McCaffrey. And I don't think Christian McCaffrey... I don't know if they're the guys to stop Christian McCaffrey. No, but I think it's the other guys that are going to kill him this week. I can see Juwan Jennings having a game similar to he had last week. Like, he's going to have to make some plays. Last week, what he had, 5 catches for 60 yards or something like that.
He played well.
Yeah, he has to have a similar game this week. I think he will. Ayuk didn't have a crazy good game last week. I can see Ayuk getting 6-7 catches for 80-plus yards and a touchdown this week. Juwan Jennings, like I said, 5 catches maybe around there, 60-something yards. But I really think that they're going to get some other guys involved. Debo, it's going to be hard to stop Debo. It's going to be hard to stop C-Mac, so I think the other guys are going to be who gets it done. But
yeah, I just look at it as just breaking the position down. Position by position down. I mean, the Lions got a better quarterback. I like Goff, but I'm going to take Purdy. I'm not quite as high on Purdy as you are. I think he is a very good quarterback, and I think if he did not play at Iowa State, he doesn't have near the hate that he does now. I think that's a big part. Is he did come out of that smaller, not really smaller school, but not a big Power 5. They weren't playing for natties and shit like that, but he did play well. Played a lot of football in college. He's a very smart guy. Yes, he is in a great situation. Yeah, that's not his fault.
That's not his fault.
He's taking advantage of everything he's been given, like a good quarterback should.
He was a 7th-round pick. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He comes in, does what he's supposed to do. And when his number was called, he was ready to go. Yeah. Like how many 7th-round picks really pan out and actually come out and
not a lot.
Do something? I mean, obviously Tom Brady, that's a different story, but they're 6th round, 199, close to 7th round. But not a lot of undrafted guys, 7th-round guys. I mean, when his number was called, he was ready to go. Yeah. And he could throw the ball very well. Like I'm not saying he's the best quarterback.
He's not the most talented quarterback.
He's
no,
not.
He's not.
He
doesn't.
He doesn't have the mobility like some of the top tier guys like an Allen.
Yeah, moves decent. Like,
Lamar Jackson.
He does
he can move
well. Like he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's not above tier for everything, but he does everything very above average.
He doesn't do anything poorly. Like, he reads well. His great.
I think that's what people like hate on him about is he doesn't have the arm talent of Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Brady
he doesn't have
the arm talent.
No,
forget that. Like,
Brady was not one of the most talented quarterbacks ever. Brady just got it done. Brady's mind.
Yeah, Brady's the best winner of all time. But as far as talent goes, he's not even near the top.
Yeah, Brady didn't have a crazy good arm. Brady couldn't fucking beat a fucking snail in a race. Like he's slow as shit.
Rusher, though.
Yeah, slow as shit. But I mean, you cannot fault Brock Purdy for being in the system he's in. And everybody says, "Oh, if he was on a different team, he wouldn't do as good."
Well, you can make that argument about every single player.
Let's talk about Eagles fans here. You put Jalen Hurts on another team, does he do that well? You put Jalen Hurts behind a different offensive line, does he do that well?
You can put anybody on the Panthers and they're dogs.
Yeah, right. Like Brock Purdy on the Panthers, we would have forgotten about him already.
Yeah, but probably murdered by now.
Right. But. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of the things. Like I'm not saying Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the league.
No.
It's not his fault. He's in the system he's in, and he's doing what he has to do on the team he's on.
Yep.
I think that's all you have to do.
That's your job.
You know,
yeah. He's literally just doing his job and doing it well.
If he keeps doing that, like if the Niners still have a really good roster, you can't like. Obviously, I think people were jealous because they wish that they had as good of a roster as the Niners.
Hell of a GM.
Yeah, and I kudos to the Commanders for finally hiring Adam Peters. I don't know how Adam Peters waited this long to get a job.
Yeah.
Adam Peters should have got Denver's job 3 years ago when they hired George Payton. Don't get me wrong, George Payton's a good GM. I like him. I think he drafts pretty well. But like, there's GMs.
Did he sign Russ, or was that before?
He did trade for Russ and sign Russ. But yeah, I mean, player development, as far as drafting player development, he's done pretty well. But
I just want to get that jab.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why he was kind of on the hot seat a little bit, and everybody's like, "Oh, let Sean Payton make the decision." But oh well.
So let's get back to this. Who are you taking?
I want to take the Lions, but I'm taking the Niners.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Niners too.
I want to take the Lions really bad.
I do. Like I said,
and if the Lions win, I won't be upset because I think it'll be damn impressive for the Lions to go into San Francisco and beat the Niners.
The game that I don't think I'm going to put any scratch down this week. If I think I have the over on it, but
what is the over? 50.5. It probably has to be somewhere around there.
Yeah, one was 44.5, and the other one I looked earlier in the week. I don't have it wrote down.
Big news out of Detroit: Zach Ertz will not be active for the Lions.
Is that shocking?
No. I clicked on it. I clicked on the game, and that's the first thing that popped up. Like, honestly, I forgot that Zach Ertz signed with them.
He just signed there. A couple of weeks ago. I mean, I'm not overly surprised. I don't think he'll play in the Super Bowl. I think they signed him just in case they needed to. It's 52.5 is the over for that game. So yeah, I can see that over probably hits. The line has moved to 7.5.
I think both games have high scoring, right? Just based on you look at the Chiefs-Ravens game.
Chiefs-Ravens game.
Chiefs can't stop the run.
Chiefs
can't stop the run. I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to stop Mahomes all game, so I think you can see like a 27-24 game there. Lions-Niners.
I do have the over on that one already. I got it at 44.5 earlier.
Okay, yeah. That go up already.
I don't know what it is now.
Okay. But Lions-Niners. Niners have a good defense, but the Lions can score in bunches. So, I think the Lions will score some points, and the Lions' defense isn't – the Niners can take the top off the defense a little bit. So, I can see the Niners scoring a bunch of points. Yeah, I think that game will be the higher scoring game, but
I can see both games being high scoring, but I think if one game isn't going to be, it is that Chiefs-Ravens game because both those defenses are really good in that one.
I think all four teams score 24 points. I can see it.
Yeah.
All four teams, I think, score 24.
At least Ravens-Chiefs game kind of feels 24-21-ish, but that could always.
I think it's 27-24-ish.
Yeah, it very, very likely could be. But yeah, look, that'll wrap us up there on last week's rundown.